Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now Samantha Shaw, and she is going to be playing Detective Kim Spencer in Lonely Echoes, and she is returning from with the same character from the other films of the Alone Saga that we'll get into. How you doing, Samantha?
I'm good. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, not a problem. I'm so glad that we could set this up. I know I reached out to Jason and I asked him if he wants help promoting this, and he's like, absolutely. He gave me a list of a couple of people to reach out to, and you were one of them, and I'm so glad we could make this happen.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely. So the first question I got for you, how did you get your start into acting?
Um, Growing up, I always liked being in theater, and I always seemed to end up getting the big role. And then I never really thought about it twice until 2015 when I went into with God's Not Dead 2. And then
Okay.
ever since then, I'm just like, okay, yep, this is it for me. I gotta keep
Nice.
going. So
Nice. So you got hit with the bug and it kind of just stuck.
yes, yeah.
Absolutely. So, how did you happen to get brought into the Alone Saga, starting with the first film Alone?
Right. So Jason Pitts and a bunch of us were on another set in Alabama, I believe it was, several years ago. And Jason had brought up a script that he was writing. And then he told me he would look at me funny and say, and then he said, I think you are the character in my story. And he said, would you be willing to look at it? Which was Alone, which was Cat. And
Mhm.
I read it and I fell in love. And I was like, absolutely. If nothing else, it's fun. I love acting. So we went in from there. And then Alone did pretty well considering, we had no budget. It was
Mhm.
all of us were very close. We kind of started a family
Yeah.
thing. And then he started writing the next ones and the next ones. And it just got better and better. And it's been a lot of fun. And I've
That's
just been with it ever since.
that's awesome. So, for those unaware, what is the Alone Saga really about, and what about Lonely Echoes?
Okay, so the Alone Saga is written by an absolute horror movie fans. He is obsessed with horror movies, and the Alone Saga is short films, and each one he's wanting to bring a different type of horror to
Mhm.
each film to make one big thing. So like Alone is more of the psychological thriller horror.
Mhm.
2 was more of the gory serial killer horror. And then, just each one just kind of genres up. And Lonely Echoes, I'm not quite sure how to classify that one yet. It's very emotional, psychological. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I know that you're playing detective. It's Detective Kim Spencer, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So you're going to be playing her. So what can you tell us about your character, and how is she going to be changing and developing from, like, I guess the first film into this one?
Okay. So, Detective Kim Spencer is the identical twin of Kat out of Alone. And, in Masquerade, she, finds out that her sister is missing. Her character is, she's very headstrong.
Mhm.
She lives in what you call a man's dominant world. Her being a detective, working with all men, she feels like she has to kind of prove herself, and she kind of starts at the bottom and works her way up. um, she is very a loner kind of, but very very strong. And I think as she goes on in these films, she becomes even tougher than I think she thinks that she was before. And she really proves herself in this
Yeah.
next one.
That's
um,
awesome. And yeah, I like, it's good to have a character where you are a woman and you're in a male dominated field, because it's showing that this isn't a typical stereotypical type of male role that is here. We're changing it up. We're making a female the detective now.
right, right. And I love it. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So what do you believe is the most challenging part in bringing her to life?
Um, Showing that she's since I played Kat, I have to portray Detective Kim Spencer as a different character. So differentiating between how I played Kat and how I played Kim, um, it's a little bit harder because I want to make them different. They need
Yeah.
to be different. And so coming up, her being so tough and ready to take charge, where Kat was more, reserved, just kind of a loner. So I got to bring Kim up to be the, bad girl type
Right.
that can kick butt. So to me, that's probably the biggest challenge between them.
Okay. So was it hard to get into the mindset of each character individually?
No, actually, for this film, it was not. Unfortunately, Kat's life was pretty much my life in real life.
Okay.
So, in younger days, um, and I do come from no family, no anything. So I felt it was very easy to be Kat. And then, believe it or not, I spent several years as a police officer in real life. So
Right.
playing Kim Spencer was easy
Nice.
for me as well because it was like my everyday job.
Nice.
So this one is not as hard for me to compare with or fake, I guess.
Okay.
So
Awesome. That's great. And yeah, I mean, like I said before, the fact that we have a female dominant role in a man's type of world is great because who's to say a man has to be a mechanic or a man has to do this, that, or the other? There's like women can do just as much as the man can, if not better. Like,
yeah, right.
like
Anything they
why
could do,
not
we
give
could
them
do
that?
better, right?
Right, exactly. So why not like give them that role and make them the badass? Why do you think in slasher movies, Friday the 13th, Halloween, the men die, there's always that one woman that
Yes,
survives?
right. Yeah, she's always running and she always ends up surviving. But I
Right.
love that. I love that a woman gets to be the hero, the bad guy, because like you said, most movies and with people, it's the man comes in being all tough and,
Yeah.
kicking butt and taking names, Jason Statham, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's always the good guy. So to have a woman take charge and just totally,
Mhm.
blow the guys out of the water is awesome. I
It
love it.
really is. It really is. And even like look at a good example is Friday the 13th Part 7, where Tina, who has the telekinesis powers, is the one that ultimately stops Jason.
Right?
And there is a final guy there that survives, but he's getting his ass kicked throughout the whole movie, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, I
She's the
love it.
one that brings him down. So it really is good that that a woman can be not just because she can obviously women can do this, but the
Yes,
fact that they're portraying it in a media environment, a film environment, it
right.
sends a message, the right message out to
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So as an actor, like what is the most challenging part of being an actor?
Actually, auditions. That's the first thing that comes to mind is auditions. Uh,
Yeah.
Trying to portray whatever character they're sending better than anyone else. You got to be the best. And when you're taping yourself, you're your biggest critic. So acting is for me, acting is tough because I watch something that I'm in and I critique everything. And I'm like, no, I don't like that. I could have done that better. But someone else could be like, oh, that was great. So my biggest challenge as an actress is being the best that I can be and more competing
Yeah.
with the competition.
Yeah. So do you try not to watch the stuff that you're in just so you don't critique yourself?
Yes, I have to admit there's a few movies that I have never seen, and that
Oh
is
boy,
terrible.
yeah, yeah.
It is.
I like watching my stuff that I'm in, but and a lot of people say, "Oh, that was really good." I'm like, "Oh, I cringe so hard." I'm like, I
Yes.
don't like it.
The camera always seems to add so much weight, so I'm always
It
like,
does.
I don't like, no. Was I that big? You know? and it
Yep.
drives me crazy.
They
So we're
say
our
the
biggest
camera
critics.
adds 10 pounds.
It does.
Yep.
It does for most people. I know a few people that look amazing, like Olivia Disney
Mhm.
in Masquerade. That girl, she looks good on anything that
Nice.
she's on. But
Yeah.
me, I'm like, oh, where did I gain that 50 pounds from? Yeah,
Nice.
terrible.
Yeah, I have what's her name again? Olivia.
Olivia.
Okay, I didn't know how to pronounce her first name. That was the first thing I was gonna ask her before we started filming. I have her on tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm scheduled to
Okay,
interview her. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
She's great.
yeah, that's awesome. And some people can look good in anything, where
Yes.
filming wise or whatever. It's like sometimes we are the ones that get stuck with the curse.
Right. I hate it. Yes.
So
Yes.
we know that Lonely Echoes is currently under its second crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. So where can people come into contact with finding this Indiegogo, and what can they do to donate? What perks are available? All that nice stuff.
Oh no, you asked me the one question I don't know. I would say get a hold of Jason Pitts. I know he has links and stuff.
Mhm.
I've never been on the Indiegogo. God, this is terrible. But I know if you go to it, I guess there's always links and
Yeah.
donations. They take it in different ways, but Jason Pitts would be the one to
Mhm.
get a hold of to ask about that.
All
He's
right.
always
Yeah.
posting links.
Definitely, and funding is one of the most crucial, important parts of filmmaking because it's not cheap to make a movie, even a short film.
Right. It's
Yeah,
really not.
yeah. So definitely, if you're watching this, get a hold of Jason Pitts. If you can find
Yes.
the Lonely Echoes Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign, go there, donate, and if you can't afford it, because we are in crazy, crazy times where gas prices
Right.
and everything is through the
Yeah.
roof. So if you can't donate, that's perfectly fine, but it doesn't cost anything to share. So you can simply
Right.
just share it, because your one share might lead to somebody coming across it being like, I like this idea, so they might want to donate. So it doesn't hurt to do that. So definitely
Yes.
look into that. Last question I do got for you. My interviews are really short. I like keeping them short, sweet, and to the
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
Last question I got for you. Do you have any other projects or anything at all that you would like to promote to the listening and the viewing audience?
Um, at the very moment, no. A lot of our projects have still been on hold due to COVID or
Okay.
funding.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything in the works at the moment other than Lonely
Mhm.
Echoes.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. So you do have an IMDb, correct?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
And
So
it's Samantha
anybody
M. Shaw.
Awesome. So anybody watching this, even if it's a year from now, if you want to see what Samantha Shaw is involved in, film wise, you can check out her IMDb at Samantha M. Shaw, and you can see what she's up to whenever you come across this interview and want to check it out. So
Absolutely.
I thank you so much, Samantha, for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's
Yep.
been great.
Not a problem. You have a great rest of your day.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.